Chapter 45 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. This blood-stained, seriously injured young man was none other than Shao Cheng's personal shadow guard, Shen Haoshi. Taking a closer look, Lin Qingyu found that Shen Haoshi's injury was more serious than he expected. A knife wound on his chest that cut deep enough to see the flesh was the most deadly. The wound was even faintly black. Aside from this, there were various other large and small sword wounds. If an ordinary person were to be injured like this, they would have long passed out from excessive blood loss. That Shen Haoshi could still stand in front of him as if nothing had happened, he had truly proven himself to have come from the imperial family's secret guards, the Tianyi camp. Lin Qingyu and this person have only met once. It was during Lu Wancheng's funeral when Shen Haoshi placed the edge of his sword against his neck. Had anyone else treated him like this, they would have probably made it on top of his grudge list. But Zhang had told him that the plain-looking shadow guard in front of him would be Shao Cheng's only weakness in the future. For Shen Haoshi to be injured like this, he must have gone to do work for his master. After getting injured, he must have come to the Imperial Medical Office to get Jincheng medicine to stop the bleeding. His eyes stayed on Lin Qingyu's face for a long time. Without saying a word, he covered the stab wound on his chest with his hands. He made to go around Lin Qingyu's side and leave. Lin Qingyu said, "1 or 2 applications of Jincheng medicine might not be enough to fix Imperial bodyguard Shen's injury." Shen Haoshi pursed his lips and said, "I won't trouble Imperial physician Lin to trouble himself over this matter. To heal the wounded and to rescue the dying is the duty of every doctor. It is best that you get rid of the poison now while it still hasn't penetrated too deep. Otherwise, the poison will enter your heart and won't be able to practice your martial arts. How can you continue to serve the Crown Prince then?" Hearing his last statement, Shen Haoshi's expression softened. Lin Qingyu added, "You have been poisoned with the 5 evils powder from the western regions. I happen to know how to dispel it. Would you like me to give it a try?" Shen Haoshi knew that no matter how powerful his martial arts, he was still just a man, holding on for this long, he was an arrow at the end of its flight. If he were to reject Lin Qingyu's offer, he might not be able to return to the Eastern Palace with a clear mind. After weighing his options again and again, he finally said, "Thank you, Imperial Physician Lin." Lamps lit up a corner of the Thousand Herb Hall. Shen Haoshi took off his shirt, revealing his whole riddled chest and back. The entire surface was covered in new wounds and old scars. It was a sight too horrible to endure. During his study travels, Lin Qingyu had also treated injuries for people of the Jianghu. Most martial arts practitioners had a bunch of large and small injuries. But compared to those martial artists, Shen Haoshi's condition was far worse. It could be assumed that he'd been working himself to the bone for his master. "Shen Haoshi, your master is not worth it." If Shao Cheng was going to fall in love with him, how could he be so willing to let him suffer so much? Perhaps it is as Zhang had said, scumbags always disdain those who go through fire and water for them, but long for those who regard them as beneath their notice. Lin Qingyu cleaned up Shen Haoshi's wounds and applied the antidote. It will hurt a little. Shen Huashi shook his head. This pain was nothing to him at all. Lin Qingyu's jade-like face was right in front of his eyes. The teardrop mole at the corner of his eye looked particularly moving under the candlelight. Noticing of his gaze, Lin Qingyu raised his eyes. What are you looking at me for? Imperial Physician Lin is as graceful as the moon, a person of matchless beauty. No wonder. Shen Huashi's voice was very soft, showing a lot of envy and inferiority. No wonder His Highness keeps thinking of you. Lin Qingyu stopped the movements of his hands and looked at him. Then, with your face, why does the Crown Prince favor you? Oh, he knows. I mean, if you guys haven't caught on, like favor you in the terms is like, taking someone to bed. That Shao Chang was dissolute was quite true, but he either liked people who looked like Jing Chen or he bestowed favor among those with real beauty. Shen Haoshi's appearance at first glance looked very ordinary. After scrutinizing it for a long time, it still looked ordinary. The most that could stand was that he looked very heroic. Shen Haoshi was momentarily stunned. How did you? How do I know? Lin Qingyu glanced at the ambiguous marks on Shen Haoshi's collarbone. Wounds and scars aren't the only marks on your body. That guy left freaking hickeys. Ugh, I don't know if you saw ick about the Crown Prince. Shen Haoshi suddenly stood up. The look in his eyes turned vigilant. Imperial Physician Lin and I are not at all acquainted. How was it that Imperial Physician Lin was able to call out my name the last time in the Nanan House mansion? Lin Qingyu sidestepped the question. I haven't finished applying the medicine yet. Knowing that Lin Qingyu didn't want to answer him, Shen Huashi said indifferently, I will do it myself. Lin Qingyu no longer forced himself to do it. He got up and stepped aside. Shen Huashi had some injuries on his back, and it would be extremely inconvenient for him to apply the medicine himself. Seeing that Shen Huashi was finding it difficult to move, Lin Qingyu sneered and said, You have suffered quite a lot, and the Crown Prince? Maybe he's out there enjoying himself with someone else in his arms. When Shen Huashi heard the words, he froze. After a while, he said quietly, He is the Crown Prince. He can bestow favor on whom he so ever wishes, including you, Imperial Physician Lin. You can hide for now, but not forever. Lin Qingyu smiled. That's true. Shen Huashi only felt that Imperial Physician Lin's smile was very confusing. It seemed to bemoan the state of the universe and pity the fate of mankind. It had an indescribable charm. It is probably this kind of beauty that could make the Crown Prince turn serious. Shen Huashi hastily finished applying the medicine. He thanked Lin Qingyu again. It's late and the road is dark. Imperial Physician Lin, please take care on your way home. I shall be taking my leave. Lin Qingyu said. Once the medicine loses its effect, come to the Imperial Hospital to find me. I will change the medicine for you. No, Shen Huashi knew. The fewer people who know about a shadow guard being injured, the better. Then I will go to the Eastern Palace to find you. After Lin Qingyu finished speaking, he leaned over and blew out the candle. The 1000-herb hall fell back into darkness. For the next succeeding days, Lin Qingyu did not see Chu Shengde at the Imperial Hospital. The emperor's headache had gotten worse, and it had reached the point where it wasn't even possible for him to attend court. Shu Zhengde personally attended to the emperor and remained on call in Xinjiang Hall. When Huji was talking about this, Lin Qingyu was pounding medicine in a mortar. He was currently only a 7th rank medical officer. Rather than making patient visits, he spent most of his time making medicine in the imperial hospital. Lin Qingyu asked, "Does the emperor often get headaches?" Hu Ji said, "When the emperor is hard at work handling state affairs, it's not rare for him to get headaches. This time, his headache is quite severe. He can't even look at the government's affairs, so he can only have the crown prince supervise the country." The emperor was getting old and he now suffered from chronic illnesses like headaches. In the days to come, Xiaocheng will be supervising the country more and more. Lin Qingyu put the pounded medicine into the medical box. "I will be going out." Xiaocheng was suspicious by nature and the Eastern Palace was heavily guarded. Even though Lin Qingyu was wearing an official uniform and carrying a medicine box, showing at a glance that he was an imperial physician, he was still stopped by the guards of the Eastern Palace. "We have not received any notice from His Highness regarding the arrival of an imperial physician. Imperial physician Lin, please turn back." Lin Qingyu said, "I didn't come here to diagnose or treat His Highness. No matter who you are here for, you are not allowed to step even half a foot into the Eastern Palace without His Highness's express permission." Sure enough, Xiaocheng's defenses couldn't be compared to those idiots in the Nanan House mansion. Lin Qingyu was thinking about what to do next when he heard someone call him Imperial Physician Lin. With a few days to rest, Shen Huaxi's complexion looked much better than last time. When the two guards saw him, they cupped their hands in salute and said, "Shen Daren, Imperial Physician Lin is here for me," Shen Huaxi said. "I will take him to my room. With Shen Daren here, we can rest assured," the guard said, making way for Lin Qingyu. It could be seen that Xiaocheng did indeed treat Shen Haoxi differently from others. Maybe he has yet to reach the point of like, but at the very least, he was trusted. Lin Qingyu followed Shen Haoxi to a room in the back hall. Shen Haoxi pushed open the door and said, "Lin Shaozhen, please." The interior of the room is simple and clean, with no unnecessary objects, indicating that the owner of the house was of a serene disposition and rarely returns home. Shen Haoxi poured Lin Qingyu a cup of crude tea. "I didn't expect that you would actually come." "Why?" Shen Haoxi hesitated for a moment and said, "No one cares about the injuries of a shadow god." Lin Qingyu didn't care either. He approached Shen Haoxi simply because he wanted his master's life. "In that case, you can care about yourself." Lin Qingyu opened the medicine box. "Don't always think about the crown prince and be kind to yourself as well." Shen Haoxi lowered his eyes and said, "But my life was given by the crown prince." His eyes happened to fall on the corner of the back of Lin Qingyu's medicine box. His expression suddenly changed and he grabbed Lin Qingyu's wrist in front of him. "Why do you know the secret code of the Shen family?" Lin Qingyu frowned and said, "Secret code?" "This." Shen Haoxi pointed to the strange pattern carved in the corner of the medicine box, his voice trembling slightly. "How do you know?" Lin Qingyu was silent. He didn't know. The one who knew was that person. So This was the reason why that man gave him this medicine box, for Shen Haoshi to recognize it. Lin Qingyu said calmly, "Let go first." The two of them were immersed in their own thoughts and they didn't notice the sound of footsteps outside the door getting closer and closer. They only heard the bang as the door was pushed open from the outside. Seeing their two heads, the man's eyes narrowed dangerously. "It seems that I have come at an inopportune time." Shen Haoshi came back to his senses, knelt down and saluted. "Your Highness." Shao Cheng ignored him and let him stay kneeling. "Why is little Qingyu here? I leave you alone and you send yourself to my door? But have you perhaps taken a wrong turn? Gu's bedchamber isn't here. Get rid of this dude." Lin Qingyu said, "Since this official is an imperial physician, naturally I came to Imperial Guard Chen's room to treat his injuries." "Injuries?" Shao Cheng finally looked directly at Shen Haoshi. "Are you injured?" Shen Haoshi lowered his head and said, "It's but some minor injuries. It is due to the incompetence of the subordinate." "You really are incompetent." Shao Cheng turned the jade thumb ring on his hand. "Such a little thing can actually injure you? What use does Gu have of you? And you still haven't withdrawn." Shen Haoshi glanced at Lin Qingyu. Lips trembling, he said, "Your Highness, this is my room." Shao Cheng stared at Lin Qingyu's eyes and said with a smile, "And Gu wishes to use your room to have little Qingyu help me diagnose my pulse." Oh, this trash. I can't believe Shen Haoshi is in love with this trash. Oh my gosh. Please open your freaking eyes, dude. Like, he's not worth it. Even in the future, if he falls in love with you, he's not worth it. Oh gosh. Lin Qingyu's hand, hidden in the sleeve of his official uniform, clenched into fists. He said lightly, "Seeing your Highness so leisurely, I presume there has been another great victory in the Northwest." Mentioning the Northwest, Shao Cheng naturally thought of Gu Fuzhao. He also remembered that the beauty in front of him was Gu Fuzhao's adopted brother. A trace of unwillingness appeared in his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, a eunuch hurriedly came to report, "Your Highness, an urgent report has arrived from Yongliang. All the ministers are waiting for you in Xinjiang Palace." State affairs were important, and Shao Cheng could tell which was more important. He finally glanced at Shen Haoshi and said, "You're on duty today. Come." After that, he walked away with a flick of his sleeve. Oh, this guy just freaking... Oh my gosh. Shen Haoshi, no matter how much you like the dude, this is not right. He's just freaking using you like a freaking toy. I feel so freaking bad for Shen Haoshi. Oh gosh. I hope he wakes up from his teenage dream of I can fix him to, I don't need a man who's trash. Gosh. Shen Haoshi staggered to a stand. He gave Lin Qingyu a complicated look and followed. The eunuch said, "Imperial Physician Lin, please go back as well." Shen Haoshi was right. He could escape for now, but not forever. Only once Shao Cheng disappears forever could he feel completely relieved. Shao Cheng walked into Xinjiang Palace and waved his hand to do away with the minister's courtesies. What? Did Gu Fuzhao send another resignation letter? To answer His Highness, since His Majesty told him he can come back Once he is defeated, General Gu has not sent a resignation letter, the Minister of War said. This time, he said in his report that he had intercepted a secret letter sent by the army to the Shishya capital. Inside is a coded message. He suspects that it conceals Shishya's military secrets, but no one in the Jiangxi army can understand it. General Gu wishes for His Majesty to publicize the message, to look for people of skill and ability within the capital to decipher this code message for him. Now there's this thing. Shao Cheng was suspicious. What is this coded message? Let's hear it. The Minister of War cleared his throat and said solemnly, if odd, change, if even, remain the same. Ooh, since he can't make it to the capital in such a short time of less than 30 days, I think he's just at least trying to send the signal that he's back to his wife so that he doesn't move on. Oh, he's so desperate. I love it.